You won't believe what they discovered in Egypt. People are speechless. Archaeologists have already found countless numbers of ancient Egyptian royal tombs. What if we told you that the locals of ancient Egypt are the focus this time rather than the royals? You heard correctly. Archaeologists have found over 800 graves in Egypt, some of which are over 4,000 years old. A significant number of tombs were discovered during the excavation of a burial site that has been known to archaeologists for more than a century. So how did they get known? What kinds of priceless objects were found in these tombs? Let's examine what it was that they discovered in these tombs that had folks in awe. Due to its location on the edge of the Sahara, the cemetery is simple to spot. Two pyramids, one to the north and one to the south of the gravesite, dominate the skyline. However, many of the ancient tombs were hidden here until recently because of the sand. In a single field season, a team from the University of Alabama worked with the Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities to map 802 tombs. According to a statement published by Mustafa Wazari, the Supreme Council of Antiquities, Secretary General Khalid Al-Anani, the ministry's Minister of Antiquities. These recently discovered tombs, which date back to 4,000 years, were unknown to Egyptologists before. Sarah Parak, National Geographic explorer and lecturer at the University of Alabama in Birmingham, co-led the journey. One of the most impressive Middle Kingdom tombs in all of Egypt is what we have on the property. According to Parak, the tombs offer several insights into the life of the people who were living and thriving in the neighborhood's old city, even though they've been heavily robbed before the expedition work began. However, what if these two pyramids were close to the cemetery? The era is regarded by many historians as the Middle Kingdom's prime. According to Parkat, in an interview with Newsweek, the information we learn from these tombs will close the knowledge gap on the Egyptian Renaissance era. It is important because that is thought to have been the prosperous era. The Amenemhet, the first pyramid, which resembles those from Old Kingdom Egypt, has not been kept up adequately. Since a sizable piece of the structure has fallen, archaeologists have had a very tough time entering the pyramid's innards. Although it was once very tall, this building is now only 65 feet high. Treasures of the Middle Kingdom. From roughly 2030 BC to 1650 BC, the Middle Kingdom was a period in Egyptian history that was distinguished by a thriving artistic and culture epoch. From the Middle Kingdom artifacts, you can witness this blossoming. In addition, Osiris, the deity of the afterlife, rose to prominence during this period, according to Parkak. The majority of knowledge we have about this list during the period comes from the extensive excavations carried out by archaeologists at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in the early 1900s. Due to museum procedure, Adele Alperham, a curator at the Met, declined to conduct a thorough interview regarding the new study. She did mention that the artifacts from that era, which appear to reflect a more humane sensibility, are one of the remarkable things about the Middle Kingdom. The two pyramids built by monarchs wearing hats, the first and sinister at the first, as well as the nearby royal tombs, have received the majority of the attention from teams from the Met. However, there is still a substantial amount of data to be gathered from the site's surveying graves. The University of Alabama at Birmingham, Sarah Parak, a pioneer in the field, shed light on the promising potential of satellite technology to unearth ancient structures that are hidden from view. However, as Parak pointed out, the group was unable to tell where the holes would lead when seen from above. Since then, fieldwork that was aided in part by National Geographic has demonstrated that the bulk of these tunnels led to tombs. To create a database on the area, the crew meticulously documented information at each site, including images and GPS data. The interconnected burial structure is thought to have housed at least 4,000 individuals in the afterlife because many shaft tombs could store up to 8 graves. What kind of information was found in such tombs? The majority of the tombs had already been robbed and empty of their contents before the archaeologists arrived on the scene. According to past research by Parak, looting in Egypt got worse during the economic turmoil that followed the 2009 financial crisis and the 2011 unrest, and it seemed that list was no different. According to Mark Leonard, the director of the Ancient Egypt Research Affiliate, it was a good first step in terms of mapping and recording the region. By examining artifacts like pottery shards, mural fragments remain, and even the two buildings themselves. Researchers can learn a lot about the health, wealth, and funeral customs of the people who once lived in the capital city. Egypt's past is a source of wonder that is well known around the world, and it continues to enthrall travelers from all around the world.